Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today we're taking a look at a brand new Armaf release from their Club de Nuit line, and it's Club de Nuit Untold. So Club de Nuit Untold is from the House of Armaf. It is an eau de parfum concentration, and you can pick this sucker up for $50 at places like Fragrance Buy. I'll have a link down in the description if you decide you want to check this one out. Also have a coupon code, save yourself $5 off your first purchase at Fragrance Buy if you decide you want to shop with them. Box presentation on this, pretty straightforward, nothing too special or fancy about it. It does have that typical Armaf Club de Nuit gemstone, rhinestone, whatever you want to call it up front. Kind of a torn paper look to it. All the necessaries on the bottom, but overall, regular cardboard box. Where the real magic is with the bottle. Look at that. Look at that bottle. Besides being an absolute fingerprint magnet, it is really cool. It's got this gold cap to it with those rhinestones, like I mentioned on the box. But it's got this like color shifting sort of vibe going on to it. I don't even know what color's in there. Your boy Post Cologne is a little colorblind, so I can't name it off. You can see what the camera's picking up. But really cool bottle. Has the Club de Nuit stamped on the side there. So it is the typical Club de Nuit shape of bottle, but I really do like the paint job on this one. They really did well. Atomizer on this. Yeah, a little... It's an Armaf. The atomizer is nothing to write home about, nothing too special. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. But the bottle, really cool. So if you are wondering what Armaf's Club de Nuit Untold smells like, you have come to the right place, because I'm about to tell you. Some of the notes listed in this are saffron, jasmine, ambergris, amberwood, fir resin, and cedar. So let me tell you what I get from this fragrance. And if those notes look a little bit familiar, you are super smart, because that's pretty much the exact same note breakdown as Baccarat Rouge 540, the eau de parfum. And if you've ever smelled that, this is pretty much a clone of that. That is what you're gonna get from this fragrance through and through, and it's a really well done version of Baccarat Rouge 540. In the opening, you get that nice opulent, sweet style of florals that comes through, a little touch of green, but this is a fairly linear scent from the opening to the dry down. This doesn't change a whole lot. From the opening, it is still a little bit on the fresh side, but I find as this kind of develops and as it gets towards the dry down, you really get that kind of signature sugary, sweet, ambery style of sweetness comes through. It's very like kind of cotton candy. It almost has this kind of like not a citrus, but kind of like a candied orange or an orange candy sort of vibe. Very sugary, very sweet. Still has like a little bit of freshness to it, but it has like some warmth that comes through, and it gets a little bit kind of dense and almost sticky sort of feeling at the same point. Very sweet style of fragrance. It does have that kind of that cotton candy sort of vibe going on to it, and I really like it. I do like me a good sweet fragrance. This is almost on the kind of gourmand side, like just smelling it in the air right now, I'm kind of salivating, like kind of want to go get some candy, because it has that kind of vibe to it. Definitely a unisex fragrance. I think men and women can pull this off pretty easily. I don't think this leans one way or the other. Like, just kind of has that kind of mass appealing, crowd-pleasing, sweet style of scent accords to it. So overall, I really like how this comes across. I think this is a great quality of fragrance. Like, from the opening, there's no alcohol blast, there's no rough edges. This doesn't have like a screechy, sugary note that comes through or anything like that. It doesn't have any sort of like in-your-face, offensive style of notes. For $50, the quality of the juice in this is absolutely fantastic. Very smooth, very just rich, opulent style of fragrance. Really enjoy the scent accord. I think Armaf did a fantastic job of this. Now, when it comes to the performance of Armaf's Club de Nuit Untold, excellent performance off this. I'd say of the Club de Nuits that I have, the new releases that came out, I think this one edges out the other two by a couple hours when it comes to longevity. I'm getting about 10 hours by my measurements. I've only worn this maybe 3 times now, so take this with a grain of salt, but all 3 times I was finding at least 10 hours of longevity off my skin. If I got some on my clothing, it was kind of one of those, you have to wash your shirts before that smell's coming out. It has that staying power. In terms of projection, it was pushing out a pretty good, like beyond an arm's length for the first 2 hours. No problem before it did settle in a little bit more, but like I said, the longevity on this was fantastic. I wore this as a bedtime fragrance a few times. Put it on like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I'd get up and go to the gym at about 6 a.m. and I could smell this as I was getting off the treadmill, I was hitting some deadlifts or whatever, and I was still getting little whiffs of this coming through. So this Made it through the entire night into the morning. As my body was heating up, obviously this was pushing off, but it was still there. So excellent, excellent longevity on this. Really happy with the performance of this one. Now, when it comes to the where and when that I think Club de Nuit Untold would be appropriate, I think this is a very much kind of an evening style fragrance, a date night style fragrance. I think you can wear this casually, that'd be no problem. I think you might even get away with dressing this up, but this is a little bit playful, a little bit flirty. This might be not as serious as you need to be for a fancy opera or a fancy dinner or something like that. I think this is the wheelhouse for this is definitely kind of a date night, evening out. It has that sensuality, it has that right level of sweetness to it, very inviting, very kind of intoxicating style of fragrance, and I think that's where it just works best. But again, casual fragrance, I think you could definitely pull this off as well. In terms of seasons, I think this is more kind of a cooler weather style fragrance, to be honest. I think fall and winter is where this one would just shine the best because of that kind of sweet vibe that goes on to it. I think that's where it just best suits it, is that kind of cold weather where you want to be cozy, you want to be a little bit inviting, and you want it to kind of push through that, at least where I'm from, just that cold Canadian winter. I think this does fantastic in those seasons. I think you can get away with this in the spring as long as it doesn't get too warm. I think you'd be all right. I do think in the high heat, this might become a little bit cloying. I haven't worn it in the high heat, so I don't know, but just my experience at the gym as my body was starting to heat up, I did notice this was starting to activate and starting to push off a lot more. It's starting to kind of almost get into beast mode. So I think this might be a little bit cloying in the heat, but we'll have to figure that out once the summer comes along. But overall, I think this is a great evening out, date night fragrance, even wearing it casually. And I think cool weather months is where this one's gonna shine best. So my overall thoughts on Armaf's Club de Nuit Untold. So I think this is a fantastic fragrance. I think the quality is there. There's no like harsh opening. There's no like rough, abrasive edges to this one. I think it all comes together very nice. Yes, it is a linear scent from the opening to the dry down. There's not a whole lot that changes. It's not an overly complex style of fragrance, but I think for a Baccarat Rouge 540 clone, this knocked it out of the park. I think it is a fantastic dupe of that fragrance. I think, like I said, the projection longevity on this is absolutely fantastic. Like Armaf knocked it out of the park when it comes to the scent profile, in terms of the performance. And for me personally, I have a couple Baccarat Rouge 540 clones in my collection, and I think this one has now taken top spot. I really enjoy this one. I think if you're into that kind of scent profile, that kind of sugary, sweet, sort of fresh, but still kind of warm, dense style of fragrance, I think this is something you might want to check out. If you already have some clones of Baccarat Rouge 540 in your collection, this will be redundant. It might not be the top of your list to go run out and buy this one. But if you really like that scent DNA, if you really like that fragrance and you want to check out one that's got some good quality to it, a really good performance, I think this is one you might want to get your nose on. That's Armaf's Club de Nuit Untold. And I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite Armaf fragrance? Comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love hearing all your different opinions. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.